Welcome aboard the Tabletop Express, everyone. This is the Tabletop Express, and this is Call Aboard, the live board game call-in show brought to you by myself. I'm Chris. Next to me is co-conductor Anthony, and we're here with you tonight to talk about board games. What's better than that, right? But it's not just us, Anthony, because we got the community. No, we got the community because that's the whole thing. This is a live call-in show. We do want to hear from you tonight, of course.
I knew that.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a thing. We've been doing this. We don't have the pretty background tonight. So what I am going to do is just say call-aboard.com is where you should go to join the show. If you have any issues with the link, please let us know and we'll give you an alternative, less beautiful link. But call-aboard.com should take you into the kind of back area where we can bring you on to camera here. But what we're going to do tonight, we're going to talk about some of the games we played this past June, the games that stood out for whatever reason, better, worse, whatever it might be. And Anthony, I want to also and I'm going to put it in your head now, something we used to do, and I realize we haven't been doing, is we used to talk a little bit more at the end of the episode about something maybe that we're looking forward to, like a game we're looking ahead to, something that maybe is in the news, excited us, we know it's coming, or maybe something we want to play, right? So I'm going to challenge you now to think about that a little bit.
Okay.
Right? And then at the end, love to hear maybe what comes to mind. Seems fair, right?
I'll work on it. No promises, but I'll think about it.
That's why I gave you a warning. I didn't just throw it at the end. But I want to just tell everybody, of course, one of the big things, of course, that we do in this is take the calls. We're also going to talk about the games we're interested in. And we're going to do that using good old Board Game Geek, so we can bring up the games that we are interested in talking about. Anthony, I want to bring up one. We both played it, and it did inspire, I feel like, a future conversation and a future video for us. So I'm going to kick it off with this one because to me, this one is incredibly important. And give me 1 second here as I go and adjust this here. So I want to talk about a racing game.
Okay. You're starting off with this?
I want to start.
Right. Let's do it.
I want to start with fire. All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
I want to talk out with a hot streak. And you're going to see it. It's funny. I don't even need to type it in. It's in the top games list on the front of BGG. We had a chance to play this, right? And I wanted to talk about it because even though this was a summer where I have been going back and trying to play games I'm really interested in, I've been caring less about the quote unquote hotness. By the way, hello to Brian. I see you in the
can't ignore the hotness in Hot Streak, though. It is impossible.
No, I mean,
Hi, Brian.
Just look at this. Just look at this. Like, you look at these images.
We talk about the hot dog in the room.
Yeah, oh my gosh, there's only so many photos of us on here, but let's talk about Hot Streak a little bit. We heard about this. We heard plenty about it. It's all over. I imagine at Origins it was being played. I have to imagine. I know Arwen has, I believe, dropped a recap of Origins, and I have not had a chance to listen yet, but I'm intrigued by it. And yes, Nicholas, I agree. Hot Streak does rule. So Hot Streak, let's talk about it a little bit. Outside of its awesome display, because this box is part of the game. It rolls out into this mat that your mascots are going to be racing across.
Right. So if you're not sure what this is, it's not random. This is based on the classic sort of halftime or intermission of a professional sporting event where the mascots run a race and sometimes fall down or crash or whatever
themselves. Hello, Danielle.
And so if you've never seen this in action before in real life, look it up. It is very entertaining. And so this is the game version of that concept. And yes, it is a race, and it is a very silly race. But
yes,
when you put that game box down and you literally just click, pull that Man Out, that's the racing part. And that goes like beyond toy factor. That's like mind-blowing concept stuff. I think this is a game changer for modern board gaming. I said it.
Yeah. And Ryan, I know you might be able to join us later. If you are, we'll chime in and share.
I thought he would have held the hotness to the end. I did.
I gotta start with this though, because it was on my mind, and we can always go talk about it again. I am fine with that. We could bookend it if we need to. So let's talk about the gameplay of this. However, so simple. Its weight is so, it's one of the lightest weight games I've actually played in terms of BGG. It's like a 1.16. It's insanely low. You're going to have a set of cards that are going to be in the game at the start, randomized, and then all the players are going to get 3 cards. You are, as a player, going to pick one of those cards to go into that deck. It's going to get shuffled up, and that's the deck. No other cards are coming back into this. You are not... Hotstreak is the best train game without trains. Okay. It always goes back to the train games here on the Tabletop Express. So simple actions are in this. It's simple things like you're going to go back to, you're going to go up to, and then swerve. You're going to turn around, or you're going to fall down. If you fall down twice in a row, you're eliminated. If you swerve and knock someone out, and then person falls down, elimination. Eventually, everyone is going to have a spot on the stand at the end in the spots of 1 through 4. And it's hilarious. And you have a little bit of information to go with, like a tiny bit, right? Like it's
yeah. I don't remember the exact number of cards that are used and not used, but there's a good amount of cards that you don't use. And so there is a good variety. So even if you can, count cards, you don't know which ones are not in the game for at least for the first round. Yep. And then even after that, you are adding a new card in each time. Plus, before the round starts, the round of racing starts, you're always going to burn 3 cards face down. So, there is no, it's a betting game, but there is no, guarantees in this by any means.
No.
And you don't have control over that. I mean, you can control what card you submit into the pile out of the 3 in your hand, but you can't control what order they come out or, where the mascots are going to go. It's all, that part is all luck.
Yeah. And you're able to bet either a safe bet or a risky bet. So you can, but do a risky bet, you're going to get a lot for first, not a ton for second or third.
Sure.
So that's important part about it. And then there's the prop bets, which are going to vary from round to round, but there's only 3 rounds. So you're only going to see 3 of them. But it's a game that I'll be candid. And this is the reason it comes up right away. This is a game that I've wanted to play again immediately after. And I want to play it right now. Like it's been on my mind. Like it's just so fun. And when we talk about this game, let's be very clear. We were really excited about a game, a year and a half ago when we played Spots for the first time, right? Well, let's go look at this right here. Designer, John Perry, Air, Land, and Sea, Spots, Hotstreak. 3 incredible games right there, as far as I'm concerned. Very different. This is Hotstreak is definitely a fun, silly game. You know what I mean? It's definitely one that you're going to have a great time playing, in my opinion. And I think if you need a break in between heavy gaming, this will do it. If you're just playing games with family, I mean, this is, again, I want to clarify, this ain't a review copy. This is a copy that Ryan picked up. But if we were reviewing it, would be getting, I can guarantee you would be getting a really good official score from me now. But I want to play it more.
Safe to say this is, talk about a safe bet. You can safely bet that this is not the last time we talk about this game on this channel.
No, not at all.
Guarantee. But yeah, this is great for, I think, anyone. Even if you have a younger kid, like Matthew, Ryan's son was playing with us.
Yes.
I think my son could probably play this game. And even if they were younger than that, or they were the same age and they couldn't really play on their own, this is one of those things where, you could be on mommy's team or you can be on daddy's team and you can sit with mommy and daddy. And all you have to do is say, all right, who do you think is going to win, kind of a thing. And it's, it's silly fun. And that's just, again, it ain't cheap, but boy, this is worth the investment in my opinion. I can't wait for
That's right.
mascots.
I brought him in because I made it so.
I had to pause and come in.
You had to.
First of all, how dare you? Number two,
dude, he did not run this by me at all. I totally would have put the kibosh or the kielbasa on this.
The kielbasa.
All right. Hot Streak is brilliant. Hot Streak is exactly what I want out of any of these betting games that are light and easy for anyone. You play all these gambling games like Wits and Wagers, Ready, Set, Bet. Come on. It's so approachable. Come on. Everyone knows how. No. You want Hot Streak. The game looks like it came out of a Funko nightmare.
This is much, much more accessible than Ready, Set, Bet.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
As soon as you look at the cover, it's just like toys. And then when you're jumping in, how can you say no to Hurley over there? And the names they have are great. The rulebook is great too. We didn't do any of every win condition has an epilogue.
I didn't even look at the rulebook.
Yeah. There's epilogues at the end. There is tons of work that was put into Hot Streak. And again, it just shows how great of a designer that John Perry is. I mean, Spots was phenomenal. Airland and Sea was phenomenal. And he just continues to nail it with easy weight, but really awesome games that just bring you in. And the fact that the brilliant part about this game is it's not totally random because everyone sees what is going on.
Right.
Everyone sees what all the cards most of the cards that are going to be visible in that game, you see most of them right in the very beginning. And then you're presented with the options as a player to mess with that system. And I have talked about this before. I love games where I can mess things up. And Hot Streak lets you mess things up so much. And it's just so hilarious when it actually does work.
Yeah, totally. And to your point, I mean, the production value is great. The gameplay is great.
Yeah, did Gobbler ever win? Gobbler never won. He made
Gobbler,
it right?
Gobbler sucks. Gobbler is the worst.
That's easily. Gobbler, by the way. He's the bear.
Gobbler, several times when we played, was like a move away from winning the race and either fell and or turned around and raced backwards to the end. He raced off the void of the board.
Gobbler's just drunk.
The first game that we had done, I had all cards that were bad for Gobbler, and I was just putting them in on and again, one of the aspects of it is you're going to get another card, so you'll always have sets of 3, and then 3 cards are taken out. So stuff is always removed. But I always knew there was bad stuff for Gobbler because I was putting in bad stuff for Gobbler. So
yeah,
it was,
and that's the awesome part about it. The game is giving you all the keys to mess things up, and because you're only gonna have 3 cards in your hand, and whenever a round is done, all the cards used, including the starting cards, are all shuffled and just dealt out back to everyone. So you really could mess things up so much, and there's just so much character in this game. This game exemplifies what I love about the hobby, to the T. Put that phone down and start screaming at these little oh my god, Gobbler, please get up.
Yes, Gobbler, you're killing me, dude.
No,
they
Gobbler?
even have the person's eyes that's in the mascot costume.
Yeah, great.
That is a detail I cannot stress enough.
Can't overlook it.
It can't. No, I can't wait for more mascots to come out, which obviously has to be a thing. Lightning. I think so. Yes, of course. At least 4 more. I can see a right now.
Version.
Here's how I rank my favorites. You got to go with Hurley first because he's a hot dog, and it just exemplifies the whole mascot thing. I have a sweet spot for Dangle, so Dangle's my number 2, followed by Mum, and then Gobbler. If Gobbler made a better impression on me from the races that I saw them in, they would have been 3 because I don't really love the Mum look, but Gobbler just dug itself a grave.
Well, they're always the outliers too, right? That's always the risk because they're the outliers on the edge of the board, so they could fall off.
That's true. They are always in that position. Have you looked through all the cards? Is it an even distribution of actions for each character? Do you know?
Come on, that's too much effort. I'd be a sweaty tryhard if I did that. We don't want that. You know, I don't want to look at the
Welcome,
cards.
by the way, to there's a where there's.
I
a
saw
way
that
to play.
term, by
Good
the way,
to
from
see
So
you
Very Wrong
in
Bad
here.
Games.
Brian Chandler saying there will be licensed mascots by 2027.
Oh, I could totally see that.
Oh, that would be fun.
Don't the
I-
Mets
I-
do one, right? The Mets do one where it's a different borough, and
Yeah,
I don't think the
Yes.
Bronx ever wins purposely.
no, they.
So the
that's
Bronx
gotta
is the gobbler of the real life mascot race.
And who has the all the different sausages that race? There's like a hot
Oh,
dog
is
and
it
kielbasa
DC?
and a
Does Nationals do that?
chorizo.
I thought the Nationals have a mascot race. The
Maybe.
Washington Nationals.
I mean, there's a few teams, but the
Milwaukee Brewers.
yes,
The Brewers.
yes.
Oh,
A lot of
yeah.
Brewers. Yeah, buddy.
So,
So yeah, man, like I said, get used to us talking about this game, folks.
But the Nationals have the racing presidents. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh, the
Ferris.
giant head. Yeah, yeah. okay.
Ferris, I'm going to say something that you've said many times about this game, which is I really like this game. If it goes on sale, I'm going to pick it up. So the MSRP is $50. I don't think that's terrible for what you're getting.
I don't know. I
Like,
do not think it is.
You see it right away. Like you see the toy factor right away. And I've spent way more money on way more useless looking board games.
I don't
So-
think this is not a game that I personally I will pick it up at some point one way or the other. But even if I saw literally a few bucks off on it, it would probably be like, yep, it's the time. Whereas like, there's some games that like you're waiting for like, all right, not sure. And maybe there's a 20% off sale. Whereas like this is where like if you were saving shipping, right, from the company, I can give them the right like one little thing is going to set it off and I'm going to grab this. You've got the copy, so I'm not in a rush, but at the same time, this is going to be on my shelf. I want it behind me, like staring. I want the gobbler staring at you, on my shelf behind me. That's
I am waiting for maybe like Shut Up and Sit Down to come out, and the copies are going to fly, and it's going to be impossible.
That's a
to get.
good point.
I mean, granted, they did the rules video for this, and I think they were involved with some of the design work.
Okay.
Like the narratives, like the epilogue stuff. But yeah, it's just this game is just great.
Brian, by the way, is saying Seattle Mariners have a salmon run, and then as mentioned, Brewers have the hot dog race.
By the way, it's on sale for $45 right now from CMYK.
Yeah, but then you put the shipping.
The point is, I think you have a valid point. This is one I think you're going, and anyone's going to. I don't say it often. I feel like this game could be enjoyed by all. I truly believe that, unless you just want unless you only want deep strategy games in your collection, and you don't want to have stupid fun ever. But God, open yourself to stupid fun and try this one if that's the case.
Have either of you guys played Magical Athlete before?
No, but I've heard comparisons with Magical Athlete in this board game.
Yeah, it is kind of similar. It's similar. But this is done much more streamlined than the production
Magical
value is
Athlete is
much
this
better.
You brought it up during your games you played at Dice Tower Retreat video,
Oh, yeah,
right,
that's
Anthony?
right.
Which
Mhm.
this is a great way to plug that video at the 2040 timestamp.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Magical Athlete. is
Yeah,
right
similar.
there.
It's a roll and move, but your character has usually some game breaking power or a reason to go backwards or something like that.
Yeah,
it was definitely a good time, and it definitely reminiscent of this. But I like the way this works more with the cards.
It looks like Simpsons artwork right there. Is this a
Oh, that's a
custom
print and play custom. one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what comes in the actual game because the Dice Tower copy I played, Vassal had like everything.
I think
known to
CMYK
man,
is coming out with
including,
a
like,
new
fan art
version
and
though.
stuff. What's that?
I think CMYK is coming out with a new version.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Maybe it'll be a dangler card.
I feel like yeah. If you go to their website, it's already pre-order.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
What up, Galactic J?
CMYK was listed on the page.
Yeah, if
too.
you go to their site, yeah, I'm gonna drop it in the chat. That's the link.
Nice.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Magical Athlete is coming out from CMYK.
Cool.
So they prevented potential issues by just owning it.
There we go.
Optics number 3 on the hotness.
Yes.
Holy moly.
That's one of the reasons I brought it up so quickly, because it just says like it's right there.
It was 6 before we started the stream.
Whoa. Good job.
I can't back
But
that up.
yeah, you got some. But no, this is one of those things. Thanks for jumping on that, Ryan. I know it was early, but I was excited. What can I say?
No, it's okay. Honestly, like there have been so far some really excellent games out in 2025.
Yeah,
You know,
and like I said, I am
as
trying.
much as I
to, like,
said, let's focus on the forgottenness.
they've made it hard to.
They made it
on.
hard.
Still
Stop
trying.
making good games.
Still trying to do that for sure. But yeah, that was but that was one I just look, we played this. We had such a good time with this, and I want to play it with more and more people. That's my biggest thing. I want to play this with like the highest play count, just because.
Well, so it goes up to, I believe, 8, and then there's a 9+ player variant.
Yeah,
and there's a 2-player variant as well.
It says 3. It says 2.
Oh,
to 9.
so the 9. So it's the 9+ variant then.
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking at.
It is best at 5 to 6 according to BGG. So, but you were talking about this, Anthony. Age is 6+. So there.
Yeah, it's very easy for kids to just be like, I want Hurley to win.
Right. Artist, by the way, it looks like Cecile is, and you will have seen some
monikers.
That work in monikers.
Yeah.
So that checks out. I knew that art looked familiar from somewhere.
Yeah.
So awesome stuff. That was Hot Streak, and I thank you, Ryan, for sharing that with us, because that was truly really a banger of a game.
Yeah. I came out with my Cosmo Kramer hair for that.
Awesome.
All right, I'll be back.
Hot streak, Jerry. Hot streak.
Later.
Bye.
We did see, I know, in that mix of things, obviously, we got where there's a will, there's a play in here. Good to see you. I know, always great to see you in the Discord. Great to see you here as well. We got Marcel in the house. We got Dr. J in the house. Remember, call-board.com to join. If for any reason that's not working, let me know. We'll give you the old boring link, which is like cool. But that should be working. Anthony.
Yo.
We talked about Hot Streak. What's on your mind?
Well, Ryan left, so I can't talk about that until he comes back. Or I don't want to anyway. I don't really want to talk about that until he comes back either. I know what I have from you that I finally got to play.
Oh, nice. Oh, there it is.
Nice cuppa, a real nice cuppa. Ooh, a nice cuppa, a real nice cuppa. Speaking of playing with your kids, my son came into the room while I was playing this, and he got a kick out of it too. He picked up the steps rather quickly,
right,
and understood the concept, and I really enjoyed it. I got to say, I played it the first time with just the base game.
Yep.
And then I played it a second time with I forget what it's called. Oh, the book thing. The book.
Yes.
I forget what the actual name of the expansion is. Sorry, I should mention stuff about.
Well, let me point out I want to make sure I make this extremely clear. We have a review copy of this, which is what we've been playing. I've played it. Ryan's played it. We've been kind of talking about it. I even made a video about it at one point, and I kind of raved about it. I'm not gonna lie, I loved it. So the versions that we have are the main base game, a good book, and seasonal stress.
Yes, I have not touched the holiday thing.
We have not touched a nice cuppa. This expansion collection, I think it's just the expansion stuff. We haven't not touched pets or something sweet, and I want to try those. But just to give a clarification of what you've had a chance to potentially play, those are the 2 expansions that we had access to.
Right. And this is designed by Scott Alms, and it's from Button Shy, who has just what seems like an endless library at this point of these wallet-sized, usually 18-card games. Now, it's, the 18 cards is if you don't add any of the other stuff, right? So it's sort of like when you get a game and then there's, in-app purchases, but they undoubtedly make the game better. Really, basically, you're just trying to get your number of cards in order from 0 through 9 or 1 through 8, depending on which cards you use. And you just have like a card underneath that are different stressors in your life. And you just choose by, you randomly put them out so that they're going to be in disorder, not in numerical order.
Right.
And then you'll flip over randomly one of these things to worry about. And it'll be things like, the weather or your job or your health or whatever. And, there's some flavor text there, I guess. But the main concept is it's going to instruct you on how to mess with the line somehow. And so that can range from things like just swapping 2 cards position. Maybe I had one where it was you had to switch the extreme left and extreme right position with each other. Sometimes you're moving a group of like 3 cards as a chunk to somewhere else in the line and pushing everything else, in either direction. And so that's how the numbers are going to move around. But then additionally, you do always have the option at the end of your turn to make one switch outside of what the cards tell you to do. But essentially, if you play your cards right, at the end of that round, any card that's above one of those worries that's face up, you'll be able to get rid of that worry or that stressor, and that'll be out. Because what's going to happen is, as the game goes on, you're not just going to resolve the one you flip over. You're going to go all the way down the line and do them all. And that could be beneficial to you if you can work the system, which is what I found really interesting about the game, right? As relaxing as it is as a theme and the artwork and the concept, it is certainly a puzzle for sure. And I really had a good time. I got to say, I played a one space game. I forgot how I did it. I feel like I messed something up. But then I immediately put in the book one, and I got like an excellent score, like second to the top, I think. It just kind of worked out that way. So yeah, I really enjoy this. And I probably will pick up my own copy of this game for sure.
This is one, and I want to just the seasonal stressors I found interesting because they just added this different way to play.
Yeah.
And then that good book made it so it was a slightly longer gameplay. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the one that added the additional spot. So
yeah, there's 2 extra spots.
2 extra spots. So I've really loved this. And it is interesting because I was describing this to someone. They said, that's relaxing. And I said, it doesn't feel.
You can make it relaxing.
Yeah. It when I describe it that you're getting rid of stressors, they're like, is that really like relaxing? I'm like, honestly, for me, yes. Like it's like a catharsis almost, right? Like I have real stressors in my life in this moment, this game. The first time I played this, as I've described, I was in a coffee/tea shop in New York City. It felt like the first place to bang a game out. And ever since then, like I said, this has been one of my top solo games. And I haven't had anything come up that's bumped it too much. I did get to play Numbsters, which I quite liked, but I like this better than Numbsters. Okay. So, there is a similar vibe in Numbsters and this for what it's worth. They're different games, but there's a vibe that I still like. But yeah. Nice Papa. And again, I would say because it's this company, we're talking about, when you're doing Scott Alms, as you mentioned, you're talking about Button Shy. That's a good start. But with Button Shy and having 2 more expansions coming with this, like this is one where I'm going to want everything and I'm going to want to have it all together and I'm going to want to bring it with me places. And this is going to be this is a game that I view as you always bring it with you, which I only have with one other category, with another game. And that's For Northwood, which goes everywhere with me. So Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed it though, because again, I know it wasn't Ryan's thing completely, but at the same time, man, I dug it. So
No, I dug it too. Now, just be careful though. If you put too much stuff, you know what happens with an overstuffed wallet. If you've seen that Seinfeld episode, with Costanza. So you don't want too much stuff where the whole wallet size thing becomes, it's kind of like.
Yep. We do have a caller in the wings, however.
Yeah,
we got more than one caller in the wings. We got a family.
Dude, it's like 7 people in that frame.
I know. And it's part of our community, so we're so excited. So first, we got 2 callers, and first we're going to bring in our first callers who you have seen. We got Marcel in the house, and Marcel's got the family with him. So let's do that first, and then we'll go to our next caller after that.
Bring him in.
And there we go. Hello.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, my friend.
All right, so we got 3 of us actually.
Oh my goodness.
What's up? What up, man?
First time listener, first time caller over here. She's going to tell you about her game.
I don't even know. Here, come
So,
through.
Go ahead.
Ow!
This is my daughter, Kaylin.
Hi.
I
Hi.
know her.
So
What
tell me about
game's on
game.
your mind? What are we thinking tonight?
So we're at the lake house right now, and we played kites the other day.
Oh,
I think.
kites.
I
Yes.
dug, yeah.
Kites.
I dug focus.
Let's
Yeah,
bring this
focus
up.
is-
What were your what were your thoughts on kites? This is a game. I think we only played. Did we ever actually play kites, or did we just play? We only played the game that followed that was similar.
I've played kites also,
played
but yes,
kites. Okay.
you and I and Ryan have played skyrockets, but not
That's correct. Okay.
not
So-
not kites.
Okay. Talk to me about kites. What did you like about it? What stood out?
I liked how we had to flip the timers, and it was a really fast-paced game and a lot of teamwork that was in it.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a very fast-paced game, and those timers, for those who've never played it, they're different speeds. So when you're looking at these, one timer might be, I don't know the exact numbers. Maybe you know, Marcel, but they're maybe you won't.
Yeah, they're staggered.
They're staggered.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah,
skyrockets is the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got one that's probably 5 seconds. You got one that's maybe 20.
3 seconds.
Oh, is it 3 seconds? Yeah, you got some
Red's
that really go
That's
fast.
3 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, red's super fast.
Yeah.
Man, talk about complete opposite. We went from the relaxing nice cuppa to an extremely
I know.
stressful. So was there a lot of shouting in the family during this play?
Good shouting. Supportive shouting.
The second
Supportive.
time.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yes.
Let's see if it focuses back.
High volume feedback. Got it.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that's really good to end the night though, because it's not going to be a long game and it just ends on a high note. So
Yeah. Literally, because you hopefully got your kites flying, right? So
No, this is good, and I think it's safe to say you would enjoy skyrockets as well if you guys have never played that. It's definitely worth checking out. A very similar vibe, but a little more going on. I forget. Do these cards have one color on them or 2? You're always flipping?
They switch. Some of them have 2, some of them have.
Okay, yes, that's what's
Okay.
different. Skyrockets, they're all 2. So
skyrockets are all 2 different colors. It's
Yeah.
pretty intensive there. I know. So we'll have to arrange for you all to try some skyrockets sometime, because that's a good one.
Oh yeah,
So,
heck yeah.
can be done. So awesome. Love that you brought up kites. All right. What else we got tonight? We got
Rapid fire.
So.
okay, up
Next.
next. So like Caitlin said, we're at the lake house. So my mom brought one of her new games that she
Oh yes.
feels Seaside. And I was super impressed with the chunky pieces, how quick and easy it was to learn. Pieces are super chunky. I mean, we picked it up in 5 minutes, played it twice in a row. It was one of those games that we liked so much. We're like, okay, nope, again.
Mhm.
Now
Yep.
it was really fun. This is one I definitely think I want to add to my collection too.
I don't know if we've said it before on this channel or if I've said it or someone said it to me, but this game should be in every, shore-based Airbnb,
Mhm.
bed and breakfast, or anybody who has a shore house or anywhere near the ocean or whatever, this is just like it's perfect for what it is. It really is.
It's I still this summer I'm doing the test of do RVs really windproof as it
Yeah.
because I find that hard to believe. So I'm taking it to the Jersey beaches and I'm going to find out. It's going to get a trip to Cape May and at least one other beach. So
Are you going to use your stinky sandals like this picture?
No,
here?
no. Look, I only find the images on here. By the way, Dr. J chiming in, which is first game I played of it was with Dr. J. Seaside was
that's
my
right.
best purchase at PAX, and we played it the night he bought it. Yeah, stellar purchase. So I'm glad you liked it. It's one of those games that, just so people know, once you learn how each piece works, like that the first game goes quick, you figure it out, and then you're immediately like, okay, let's go again, because you have enough time to do that. It's not.
Yeah. It's almost like Hive in that way. Not that it's like, I mean, it's sort of abstract. Yeah,
it has so much more replayability than a game like Hive, though, which is what's nice to me. Like you can learn the actions, but the game's always going to play differently.
Yeah.
Every time. So
yeah, I feel like this is a game too. Like gamers can play it, but it's such an easy introduction to anyone. Like it was really easy to pick up. So yeah. All right, on to the next one.
All right,
Great. This is amazing.
I love this.
Streamlining this, right? All right, so I was torn between two. And I think I'm going to go with the 2-player asymmetrical game. Surprise, surprise. And this is one I backed on Kickstarter, and it is Time and the Coyote.
I don't think I know this game.
I literally got this a week ago.
Well, that's why there's like no photos. You're going to have to give us the details here.
Wow.
We got very little to show.
So you either play as Time or you play as the Coyote. And this is a game where the Coyote is trying to preserve places of power. And they give you this nice little coyote statue.
Ooh.
So he gets placed on the cards and the deck of cards. So you have this nice deck of cards, and they are 2x3 layout grids, and you basically overlay them and set up patterns and maps. And as the coyote, you're trying to expend your instincts, which are these nice little wooden tiles right here.
Tell you what, hold on. I'm going to make you.
Yeah, make him bigger.
Give me 1 sec. We're gonna pull you into the big time.
Oh no! All right. Oh man, I am big. I've got this on the projector on the background.
Yeah, buddy.
So the Coyote's got these 6 power moves, basically instincts that they play throughout the games. And as time goes, they lay down these cards on top of each other, and you can play them however you want as long as they don't cover the Coyote or a place of power. Now, as you go, you've got these there you go, triangle pieces in the corner there.
Yep.
That's half of a place of power. Now, if you find another one and you can somehow match them up like that,
Yeah.
I can sacrifice one of my moves and claim it as the Coyote.
Huh.
Now, there's 15 halves, so the most you can have at a time is 7. So it's a game of, all right, as time goes, they're playing down more cards than the Coyote. The Coyote can only play cards if they play this dream token right here. That's one of their moves. There's other things. You've got like, actually, this card is pretty good. It's got a lot of symbols on it. So you've got a trap, which catches the Coyote. You got barbed wire, which the Coyote has to overcome. So they got to use one of their instincts to get by it. The homestead's just a completely impassable thing. You've got the trash, which takes 2 moves to get out of. Coyote each turn gets 3 moves to go. And then you get the power. So as you go through, it's really a game of time trying to trap the Coyote and limit their movement. And the Coyote's trying to get to these places of power and preserve them to continue on and win.
Awesome. No, that's really cool. I'm excited for this one.
That's interesting. I quickly looked it up because I was curious if it was based on like a myth or a legend or something, which is kind of what it sounds like. I didn't find anything though. Did you read anything in the rule book about like what this means or the origins of the title or anything?
It actually has a lot to do with Native American lore with the coyote.
Okay.
And so you're basically, how did they phrase it? Prairie wolf, old man coyote, song dog, soon to be gone, faded out, trying to cling on to places of power in order to maintain, basically.
Interesting point, by the way. Same designer as 23 Knives, which I know I've been wanting to play. I don't know if you've had a chance to play it yet, but I know
I have it over
you
there.
own it. So,
I brought it with me. I don't know we'll get to play it, but
yeah,
that is another one I want to play.
But I know 23 Knives, which Play to Z, who was on the channel. We had as a publisher, they were on the channel. We had the man himself, the Z, in Play to Z, and we definitely intrigued by this one. So good to see Tyler Brown there as the designer in that case, who has also done Hercules and the 12 Labors, which I'll now have to look into because I have never heard of that one. So
yes,
I've backed that. It's coming soon.
Okay. Report back to us on it then.
I saw that too. That looks interesting.
Hopefully in July.
Awesome. Oh man. Well, I appreciate the call in from the lake house. Love that we love that when you go out there, you got us up on the projector. So
yeah, I'll take a picture and send it to you guys.
Sounds great.
Yeah, we're not jealous at all.
Hey, I was tempted to actually talk about lore while I was on the boat, but it got
yeah. We'll have to do the lake house episode sometime, Anthony, and we'll just get ourselves to a lake house. That'll be fun. Yeah, I don't know what internet service. I guess we'll make sure we get good internet service too wherever we go. But awesome. All right, thank you there.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks to everyone. Hi to the entire family. All right.
Bye.
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 All
that was
right.
great.
We're going to keep it going because we got Ian in the chat as well. So we're going to bring Ian up. And then we've got another person in the wings, but let's not delay.
Let's
Ian,
do it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Pub Express. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. What's on your mind tonight? What games, have you been playing? Anything standing out this month in particular?
Yeah, well, this month, so behind me in our den, when we bought our place a few years ago, we remodeled our small little den here to make it more functional. And one thing we did was we put up these shelves, these floating walls. And so we kind of have a showcase wall every month for games that we want to make sure we get to the table. And this month was actually new to us games. So all of these games were new to us, either solo for me or with my wife, Stacy, and I. And, so we've had a lot of fun with these. One of my favorites that we played was Wanderlust, Discover the World, which kind of has this route building thing, sort of Ticket to Ride-esque, trekking the world, trekking through history, or trekking the national park sort of thing, except for it's very unique because there's only 3 destinations that are available at any one time. And in order to get to a destination, you have to have all of the proper cards in order to travel to that destination. So in order to get from one destination to another, you may need a car because you're going on the road. You may need then water. You may need an airplane. So you have to have the entire thing. So you can't go step by step. You have to have the entire thing, and you score points based on that. How many cards you lay down. And then there's some other criteria, like when you're in cities, you can get souvenirs. When you're in ports, you can get you can send postcards. When you are in natural wonders, you can take pictures of them. So that one kind of flew under the radar. We backed that one a couple years ago, and it delivered last year. We actually did a live. Did we live stream it? We either did a live stream or we did a playthrough on our channel, which they very much appreciated because I don't think it's gotten a lot of coverage, and so it's a really good. And I actually did a solo live stream of it as well. It has a really interesting solo mode that is not easy to beat, even on the easiest level. It's very difficult because depending on which end game reward cards are out there, the AI will do kind of different things. So it is a really fun game. And if you like stuff like Ticket to Ride and the trekking games where you're kind of doing this route building, but you want something a little bit more, I do highly recommend this one.
It sounds like to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I've done the trekking games. We've had those. We've covered some of the Trekking the World, right? I think we did. I'm a big fan of trekking through history, personally.
Yes. That is my favorite Underdog game. So yes.
Yeah. So, but this one seems almost like they've got a little bit of both going on. Because when we played the Trekking the World, I'm thinking of that souvenir collecting or like even like. So it sounds like a kind of a combo, but it's only a weight of a little bit over 2, so it's not really super heavy by any means either. It sounds like pretty approachable for most people.
Yeah, I think so. The biggest thing is, just making sure you have the right cards in your hand, because like I said, Trekking the World, Trekking the national parks and you can go like step by step. You have to be able to go all the way from one spot to the other. And what you have is 3 locations that are marked on the board that you are trying to get to at any one time. And when someone gets to one of them, they get that, and then a new one comes out and that location moves. So some of the bonuses might be based on you have to have a certain number of souvenirs, a certain number of pictures, a certain number of postcards, or you need to have a certain number of locations in a specific region, each one of those colored regions, or you may have to visit a certain number of different regions or different regions. So the bonus cards and the end game triggers when someone has fulfilled two of those criteria.
Oh, interesting. And designer, it looks like, is Julian Ashla, and so designer's the co-founder of the studio, and this is their first design. It looks like, based on what I'm seeing here.
I think they have their second one. They have another one either on Kickstarter or hitting Kickstarter here soon, I do believe.
Okay.
But yeah, this one just intrigued us because of the travel part of it, or intrigued me and stuff. So, and we finally got it to the table. It delivered last year. I think I looked and I did my unboxing video like last July or August, and it finally hit the table this June. So
yeah, it's crazy. Well, you know this, and actually, while you're here, let everybody know. Obviously, I know you're on YouTube, so people can, if they do a search for where there's a Wills, there's a Play. If I'm not mistaken, is just the search title to go for. They can find you, I know, and I know you're in our Discord as well. So definitely come say hi. I know you'll promote some of your stuff in there in our promotion section. But I'm intrigued from kind of those games, just talking from that experience, from those games that go on that shelf. What's your process to like is the shelves very much the new part of the process to be like, these are the games we're gonna get to, like we can't ignore them because they're like physically present right there?
Yep. So this shelf, we theme it every month. So every month is a different theme. We've been doing it for just over 2 years now. So I've got a spreadsheet on Google Sheets that has like a list of possible themes with games that go in it. I've got stuff planned out for like several months, and then some things in the future and things. So this was all new to us. We try to do a new to us at least once a year. Our last one was last November, and then the previous one was that January. So we try to do at least once a year, just to try and clear off. And we've been trying to clear off a lot of our games, and we've actually cleared a lot of other new games that weren't on the shelf. Some that actually just came in. And I'm talking about those two in just a minute that have been a big hit. But that one definitely was a big hit for us this month.
Awesome.
Cool.
Anything else? Any other game you want to bring up that kind of jumping to the radar?
I got 2 more that we learned this month that just really skyrocketed, even at 2 players. The one, actually, we just had a 2-player playthrough post this morning, and that's Bomb Busters, which I know so much about.
Play this.
And we played through the 8 training scenarios in like one weekend, because we were having so much fun with it. And then we just played scenario 9 the other day a couple times, and we filmed the playthrough for that and posted that this morning on the channel. And I think this is really fun because I think this scales pretty well for 1 to 4 players or 2 to 4 players, because in a 3 or 4 player game, most people have only one rack of wires. So like if you had a 4 player game, there's 4 different racks of wires that the people are playing with. And each person is going to give a piece of information at the beginning of the game. So you put a little thing on the other side that tells people like, this is number 6. This is number 4. So you have 4 pieces of information. It does make it harder to do what they call a solo cut. Whereas if you have all of the numbers that are left, so let's say this one you're showing right now has 2 7s. So if there was 2 7s already placed, this person could do a solo cut and they could place both those 7s down because they're the last 2 7s out there. It does make it harder for that because there's going to be 4 racks that are out there. So in a 2-player, you're playing with 2 racks that are counted as one, but also 2 different racks. They are 2 different racks when you're looking at things. So a solo cut might be a little more easier because you may go, I have 3 of the 4 7s. I just need to clear one of the 7s and I can do a solo cut. Or sometimes you have all 4 of them between your 2 racks. But where it scales nicely is because you're only playing 2 players, you only put out 2 pieces of information. So you don't put out a piece on every rack. You only put out 1 piece between your 2 racks. So you may have an easier chance to do a solo cut, but you also only have 2 pieces of information. So I know one thing that Stacy has on hers. She knows one thing that I have on mine between all of my tiles. So instead of having 4 racks, so this looks like it's probably a 3-player game, and one person would have 2 racks because those 2 are so close together.
Yeah.
So they would have the person on the bottom would put out 1 piece of information and the 2 people on top would put out 1 piece. So you still have 3 wires that you know what they are. So it's easier to cut those because you have to cut a wire. You have to say, I know this is a 4. And if it is, you both get to put a 4 down. You want to avoid the yellow wires. You can't cut a yellow wire with a blue one. But if you know that someone has a yellow wire, you say, this is a yellow wire. And then you both get to lay down a yellow, and you want to avoid the reds. So I do think the way it does that, where like in 2 players, you're giving less information, but you have a better chance of maybe doing a solo cut. But in 4 players, you're giving more information. So you have like 4 numbers that are out there already. So it's easier to get those early cuts done. But it's going to be a little harder to do that solo cut because it's less likely that you're going to have the last 2 that are remaining of the numbers.
Interesting. Yeah. And I'm going to bring in someone, but that's just because we got another person in the wing, but I'm going to bring in our other co-conductor here. So give me one moment. And there's Ryan. So
guess he was back.
I know you had another one in mind. So what is that 3rd one? Because I want to make sure
this last one just delivered, and this is a beast. And this is Emberleaf.
Oh, I've heard
by
about this
City of Games. I also have an unboxing and initial impressions and a solo live stream that I did of this. This game may overtake Isle of Cats as my favorite City of Games game. It is so good, and like the card dancing mechanism where every card has this was my number 2 most anticipated game of the year. My number 1 gets released in about 2 weeks. That's Vantage from Stonemaier. That was my
when you said that, I was like, I know what that is because Jamie's got something cooking.
Yeah. So I love the card dancing in this, where each card has 2 different abilities. It may be an ability when you play it on your board. It may be an ability where when you slide it, it may be an ongoing ability. It may be an ability that when you charge it, so you can put a resource on it to do something with it. It may be an ability when it falls off, because one of your mechanics is you're going to slide all of your cards to the left. So when a card falls off, some of them, like this one down here in the middle, when that card falls off, that blue symbol with that arrow, that means when that card falls off, you can build something. So only when it falls off, though. When you play it, you get to build something. You know, that one you get to build twice. So it's this whole puzzle of, I need to put it in the right place on the board, on my little fellowship board, so that I can get the best, so that I can have the resources available to build when I place it, but I also need the resources available so that when it falls off, I can build, and I'm in a spot that I'm building. And you're also moving around this bigger board and doing all this stuff. So so that one, like I said, that was my number 2 most anticipated of the year, and did not disappoint at all. Like I said, my number one is Vantage, which launches in like a weekend or in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So those ones definitely were my top two. Pretty far ahead of the other ones for the year, and this one definitely did not disappoint.
Oh no, I love it. I love what you mentioned here. Definitely appreciate you calling in. And hope you see you back in the chat. But again, just so everybody knows, obviously there's a Wills, there's a play. Can check that out on YouTube for some of the stuff that you mentioned here in the chat if you want to check that stuff out. And
you can also you can just search Wills Plays Games and it should come up as well, because that's the actual. Oh,
is that
tag.
the title? How it actually comes out there? Okay.
That's the @ in it, because it won't allow the long where there's
that's
Wills.
right. Yeah, because it doesn't allow the full. And it is a good reminder. You can also be like Ian and be part of a Discord. There's a link to the Discord in the description. Come be a part of a Discord, whether you're board gamer, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a publisher, designer. We want to see you in the Discord. We want to say hi, and there is a space for us to share all the things we're working on. So appreciate you popping on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. First time calling in, so thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
We
We
love
need
that.
a
Thank
first-time
you.
caller. If I don't have a whistle, I would normally toot it. So
It's
That's
over
good.
there.
yeah, you don't want to put. That's
Oh, it's over there.
yeah. Oh, it's a walks away.
Would you like me to blow your whistle?
Oh man, thank you, Ian. Appreciate it.
Take care, Ian.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, Ian.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we're not done, folks.
We're not
done. We got another caller in the wings, fresh back from Origins. So God knows what games have been played at this point. We're gonna bring in a favorite of the channel. We love her. It's Arwen. Arwen, how are you?
Exhausted still, but I'm here with you guys, so that's always good.
Welcome
Well,
back,
we
Arwen.
appreciate you squeezing
Thank
it
you.
in. I'm sure you are exhausted.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
it was a very crazy week because I got down to Columbus Tuesday of last week and came back Sunday night. So still kind of recovering and still trying to get things sorted out. I still haven't gone through all my games and stacked them up, and usually people do a haul pick and it's just like, nah, I'm too tired for that right now.
Well, we're going to ask you the hopefully not too tough question, but I'm sure you've got to play a bunch of things. But any game standing out that it doesn't have to be Origins, but any game standing out this month that you want to bring up to, share what's on your table.
Yeah, it's been a heck of a month. I mean, everything from SETI, playing that for the first time, to a lot of games down at Origins. And I really had two that I had in mind that I really wanted to highlight. The first was my play of Molly House.
Oh, yes.
Finally got to play the published version of it after playing a very early version of it that Drew sat me down and took me through early on, which this was completely different from that early version, but nonetheless a fantastic game. I'm still kind of processing through it exactly what I think of it. I mean, it's a fantastic game. I had an incredibly good time with it. I played it with Marceline Lehman, who you may know from her work on the some solo things, particularly Oceans. She developed the solo mode for that. And High Tide is her upcoming one that has a lot of buzz around it. She's also done some development work for the new Hobbit, kind of rolling right from here to there, I think, and back. I believe
Office
is the name.
Dog? Is that the Office
Yeah.
Dog one?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the Office Dog one, which I also got to play at the convention and was very, very good. I'm extremely excited to hopefully get a review copy of that. But we sat down. We learned this. We had somebody at Whirligig actually teach us at the booth. So we had a demo first, and then Drew sent over one of his assistants to go and teach us, which was great. After that, we went out into the hall and proceeded for the next 3 hours to set up and play Molly House, and had a wonderful time with it. Definitely a emotional game from the standpoint of what it means to us to both play it together and kind of process what each of the mechanics means in the greater scheme of things and what it actually meant in the historical context of where it was set. So I was incredibly happy with the final production of it. I do plan on actually doing a video where I kind of decompress my thoughts and start to go through that and what that gameplay meant to us. So one that I will not forget for quite a while. I'd like to get it to the table a couple more times with a couple different groups to see what they think of it and how it plays in some different maybe makeups of groups.
I can tell you, I think it's fair to say that there's 3 people right here who will play it with you at PAX Unplugged.
I was going to say,
great.
can we be one of the groups in PAX Unplugged?
Yes.
We had a blast when we played this, and I'm looking forward to game 2 of it.
We had a live stream of this one, and we definitely were feeling especially that first round, right? And we were feeling through, and so if anyone who watches it will see us kind of feeling that experience of the mechanics and how they work together. But by the middle of that second round, I was like, I really like this, and I hate a bunch of decisions I made, but this is fantastic. I mean, I really enjoyed it, so I am itching to play this one again.
Aaron, I'm curious. So what you mentioned, it was pretty different from what you were dealing with beforehand. You don't have to go through all the differences, but what was this like? What was stark that stood out?
Yeah, the big thing really was there was a entire central area that you were kind of going through in the middle that was more of your city, and you were going from point to point. I believe there was a constable kind of chasing after you that you had to outrun, which made it very different. Definitely one of Joe's earlier designs that they had done. I don't know exactly what iteration that was, but there was, instead of having that complete outside area, it was more internal to the board, much like you'd see in maybe a Eldritch Horror and Arkham Horror, where you have these interconnected spots.
Interesting.
Well, so that's a very much different product.
Like we said 2 though, and that is only one game. And I'm so glad you brought up Molly House, because again, we had such a good experience with it, but would love to know what that other game is as well.
Yeah, so the game that I kept sending people to, because people were kind of seeing me and asking me, what did you see that was good? And usually I have something on my mind. The other one for me was the Game Makers. That was by Bezier. And it came up relatively late before the convention. I hadn't heard of it. And I was going through to do my pre-Origins podcast episode as far as what I'm excited for, what I'm looking at, that kind of thing. And the Game Makers came up. It is a very interesting game. I felt like it was I basically had this vision in my head that it was going to be more maybe production flow oriented, something like a Kanban EV would be. It's a much different game. It is by the designer of Fromage. So you have a central board where you are going to be picking up resources. The mechanism to do that is much like Fromage, where you have your workers, you're picking them up at the beginning of the round, and you're placing them 1, 2, or 3 spaces ahead of you. The wheel rotates. you get the workers back that you put one space away or, that have accumulated there, and you continue on. It's very snappy. It is a much more involved game than Fromage is. And I found it really, really fascinating. It's not very process flow oriented like I thought it was going to be. It wasn't as deep into the, hey, I'm going to put people that, I'm going to have a designer, I'm going to have a artist, I'm going to have a, publisher, whatever. It is very much, a lighter game when it comes to that, but a lot of really cool decisions. Everything that is in there as far as the games that you're making are licensed games.
I can see that. It's crazy.
You have Wingspan in there. You have, I think Through the Ages I saw Too Many Bones was in there.
I saw Mansions of Madness earlier in another picture.
Yep.
Kemet.
There's Gloomhaven.
Is Brass Birmingham.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh man.
There are a ton of games. I mean, a absolute. I would compare it to probably a Wingspan amount of cards that are in this game, and it's very, very impressive. Each one has a designation as to what type of game that it is, and they actually do feel different in what their abilities are. Like once you play them and score them, sometimes you get bonus cards. So like on your engine builders, you'll have bonus cards that you'll get to take into your hand, so you have a head start on your next cards. Essentially, the tracks that are on the side of the player boards that you can go up on, they actually give you bonuses based on what type of cards they are. So some of them are basically going to be, you get points for each one that you've done, but more of your war games are going to be based off of what your opponents have done. So you're going to be comparing back and forth between how many of the war games your opponents have built up. I thought it was a incredibly cool love letter to the industry. It's very obvious that a lot of care went into it. A lot of conversations went on. I did get a chance to talk with Jay from Bezier about the conversations that they had. And I'll be chatting with him on a future podcast episode about the development of this. But yeah, it's still sticking in my mind. It's still something that I really want at my table, like right now, and really looking forward to playing it. I did get to play through pretty much a full game of it, and I was hooked.
This is very interesting.
Yeah, this looks incredibly interesting. I am definitely intrigued, and seeing the amount of the games. I mean, I just that outreach. I can only imagine. I can't wait to hear that come. Please make sure you share that on the Discord whenever that one comes out, because that's a day one listen. I need to hear where those conversations went and the big picture behind it all. So that's
especially with how many games you said are in there. I mean, that must have taken. Man, I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of. Well, a lot of planning.
It's part of
a whole nother level to just the game design. It's very meta. This whole thing.
And look, I know we've talked about this before, Arwen, and no industry is perfect, but it does tell you one thing that stands out as pretty special, which is the fact that I can't imagine this happening in every industry. Like I really can't. So there's something special that as many games as we know are going to be the legit box art in this. I mean, that's pretty cool on more than just it's neat to see. It says something about the industry itself to me.
Wait, what's the game called? Prototype? I see all the prototype.
No, that's just saying it's a
prototype images.
Oh, I see. Okay, but they don't have the license yet for using stuff, right? Or
I
Like the
believe that
approval.
they have everything licensed out at this point.
They do. Okay.
Yeah, the
there was-
game makers, obviously, you can even see. I mean, there's Raw right there.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, what's cool is actually Panda's logo is on there, and
Mhm.
Panda is the like the factory in China that makes all these different board games.
And that's really why I thought like it was going to be much more process flow oriented than it was. But it really it wasn't terribly like that step-by-step iteration. It was basically, hey, get these resources to make this game, and you will get bonuses and scoring conditions and all that good stuff, which, it wasn't my original thought of how it was going to look and how it was going to feel, but it did feel like a really, really cool game. I will say, as far as the licensing goes, there were no embargoes as far as you can't take pictures, you can't share pictures, that kind of thing. In addition to that, I'll let Jay tell the full story behind it, but essentially the conversations ranged from having to go up the chain of command, especially in some of the bigger companies.
Sure.
I'll let him divulge which ones those were. Where you really had to go and do your approvals and everything else, to basically halfway through the pitch, before they even got done, they basically said, "Yeah, we're in."
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That is really cool. Oh, I love it.
That's great.
I love it.
Arwen, I know you've had a long week, but I do got to say, what was any fun or big takeaways from Origins this year? Anything about the experience you do want to share? I know, almost tease what I know you talk about or will talk about on your show. But give everybody that tease and we'll make sure everyone goes over, and please listen to Arwen and go listen to the podcast Cardboard Time. It is fantastic. We love that you are part of our community. I know we repeat this on no end, but it's true. So tell us, give us a little of those teasers of hopefully what we can get out of hearing your recap.
Yeah, so right now you can go and check out the Ride Home recap with really weird audio. Something was going on in my car that is no longer going on, of course. As soon as I'm not trying to record audio, my car decides to behave. So that's fantastic. Thanks to my Chevrolet for doing that. But in addition to that, I do plan on doing a wrap-up video that will be more oriented to what I brought home, some of the things I saw there, including the game makers, and my experience with Molly House. Again, a separate video will be done on Molly House just itself. But as far as takeaways from Origins goes, I think that it was kind of more focused on the gameplay side of things, which I was pretty happy to see. I think that's where Origins really thrives. A lot of people were kind of upset, that some of the more major manufacturers had pulled out of the convention. And I think that was kind of expected between the continued relationship between Origins and Gen Con basically being a month or a month and a half different from each other, and pretty much in the same area of the country. And with the tariffs, a lot of companies have made that decision, hey, we're gonna pull back our presence a little bit. And if they had to choose one, they were gonna choose Gen Con. But that said, overall, there were a lot of great opportunities to meet with publishers. I think that the conversations that we had were more meaningful. They were more in depth. We were able to go and grab a cup of coffee or something to eat in certain circumstances where you would never get that at Gen Con. And I'm very grateful for that. the convention was good. I think that it's improved since the kind of start of the pandemic and the issues that they ran into. I think that maybe they've got a good volunteer coordinator and they're really kind of firing on all cylinders again. So a couple gripes. I wish we had known that Media First Look was on Wednesday before, they basically told us on the Friday before that it was going to be on that next Wednesday. A little bit more notice would have been great, but other than that, I had a blast, and it was a really cool small con. You can get a lot of things played, a lot of full demos, and yeah, had a great experience.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate. We are going to recommend everyone checks out the Cardboard Time podcast, and make sure that you hear more about that. Work for the audio. The audio stuff happens in a car ride, so I think people can get through that and hear all your thoughts. And then can't wait to see the full recap. And thank you, Arwen. It was great once again, as always, to have you call in.
Great chatting with y'all.
Bye,
Thank
Arwen.
you. Good night.
We'll talk to you soon. All right. Well, Ryan, welcome back, sir.
Hey, good to be back.
We have had a packed
right?
show tonight.
Yeah, you would think this was a PAX Unplugged episode.
Yeah, it's been great. I always awesome when we get all the calls coming in, and I know some nights are better than others for people, but tonight's been a ton of fun to have it happen. I mean, it's always a good time. But Ryan, that means that look, game wise, you haven't got a chance to pick one. So what game is in your mind?
I'd like to talk about Hot Streak.
All right, we're gonna bring Hot Streak right back.
Yeah.
There it is.
Tonight's the Hot Streak show. No, I have a couple games, but I don't want to jump in because I'm going to be selfish and say it was recently my birthday.
Well, yeah, that's
that's
a big deal.
So I picked
talk
out
about
games.
it. Talk about it, because let's be fair. With your birthday, it meant a game got to the table, and it's something I wanted to bring up. But we've all started checking off games from our games we want to try from each other's top.
That's right.
20s.
Both of you have achieved one.
I've achieved 3 already. One additional.
No, I've achieved more than one.
No, I mean on my birthday, both of you achieved.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, let's just bring it in here. Let's put it in.
Which one's coming in first?
Well, the one that we played on your birthday.
There's 2 of them, man.
Well, there's 2.
That's
Well,
one
there's
of them.
2.
That was on your list. That wasn't on Anthony's list.
That's true. But
Yeah.
let's talk about this one first, then.
Okay. Go ahead and describe Alchemist, Chris.
Oh my goodness. Oh God.
You've heard me rave about Alchemist, and I think you
No.
all see how crazy I am by loving.
No.
Alchemist.
Look, Alchemist is a game that is
Designed by
mimicking-
Matches Quotry.
It's mimicking higher education and
Yes.
research, which I appreciate. I greatly appreciate. And we are testing theories. We are debunking theories, most of which debunked were mine, because I was throwing a crapshoot out on the board, lying through my teeth on some of that research. That's for sure.
That's how Alchemist goes sometimes. Go ahead.
Yeah. But one of the things about this game is it's also a game that, as we're taking the action to collect cards, test our theories, and I want to point out, sometimes you're testing your theories on like the students, and the other times you could test on yourself. So when you're testing like the potions that you're essentially making, does this make negative red or positive blue or whatever it might be? The negative reputation factor, if you make a negative in particular on a student, a negative green, I believe it was,
On yourself.
on
It's
yourself-
negative, negative blue.
Yes. So there was this factor where we lose reputation in the process because we are potentially making so the students are like, oh, I don't want to work with that guy.
Well, that's different. That's different.
Well, yeah.
That's if you test a potion on a student, if that student's okay, then the next one will test one. But as soon as one of the students,
Right,
regardless whose potion it was, gets some bad negative potion, all the other students will say, "No way, I'm not doing it." And so you have to bribe them $1 to do it. Which I
Right,
think is
right.
brilliant.
Okay, I'll drink it.
Yeah, all right, for $1. I
Well,
guess
they're
you can
college
do it.
students. So you scan free T-shirts, and so you got to give them something. But
Sure.
no, the big thing about this for me was this board. So as I'm trying to describe this, and you can correct me where I am, but the biggest thing is we are deciphering information so that we can publish the theories on the board. And one of the cool things is, and I don't know if there's a good photo of the full board here, so I'm gonna see if I can find it.
Oh, up there, I think. Right there. Yeah.
But like there's a decent amount of these actions happening, and that spot over one of the spots I actually really liked about this that I want to point out was the order piece in
the turn
the
order?
upper right.
Yeah.
Because making a choice of what I'm going to get versus how soon I'm going to go in terms of taking my actions was really critical, because being able to see what everyone else does was nice. And that was one of the things that happens when you're taking your actions first if you're at the highest, but you're still seeing what everyone else is doing first.
Right. You don't claim your actions first. You claim your actions last. So whoever is going last is going to be claiming their actions first.
So I enjoyed seeing that factor. Again,
Yeah.
I felt like I did not take advantage of a sales section here. I don't think I sold nearly, or is it right here? Yeah, because
that's the sales. The other one's the item purchase.
Yeah, the item purchase is another thing I probably could have done more, but that sales piece.
Yeah, I think I did it once.
I did it. Oh, sorry, my dehumidifier is beeping back here. If anyone hears it, that will end shortly. But the sales piece, I was questioning if I did it enough but at the same time, I wanted to get more cards, which would be in that bottom right area, and be able to do more testing, because I didn't feel I was confident in my research. I feel like I picked it up for the final round, because in that final round, you got to do the Wizards tournament. Is that what it?
The Wizard tournament. Yes, the Wizard tournament.
Yeah. I need to play this game at like noon or 11 o'clock when I've had coffee, and it's not because I picked up on a lot of stuff, but I need to play with like my full.
Yeah, it could be a brain melter for sure.
I think I have brain melt. Yes.
Because the thing is, you have that Sudoku deduction thing going on throughout the entirety of the game, right? So you have that private board in front of you, and you're still just focused on what's going on the actual action board. And yeah, it is a lot for brand new players. And the first play of it for me was very much spending most of the time just going through the rule book and making sure I really understood everything, because you really need to understand how that deduction puzzle works before you move on to anything else. Because if you don't understand that ruins the entirety of the game for you.
Yeah, that hampered me a little bit. I didn't have the complete grasp on it, which I found annoying to myself, because I love logic puzzles. I really enjoy that kind of stuff. But yeah, maybe I just wasn't 100% mentally there. But the fun factor is definitely using the app and scanning the item and seeing what the result is and hearing the little ding or not ding.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's app integration done right, because it's just completely minimal, and it's your focus is in the board game. It's not in the app doing all this different stuff. Your focus is on the board. The app is merely a supplement that is replacing the need for a player who just acts as the DM. So I do like that a lot.
I want to echo that. Actually, this was one of the better app integrations I've seen.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it as well in and I'm turning around because I had to make sure I had it right. Kutnahora. I thought app
Kutnahora
also
was
a CJE design.
Mm-hmm.
So very few games have had the app integration that I thought was perfect.
Kutnahora was secondary. Kutnahora does not come with an app. There was an assistive app that we played for our playthrough.
Right. But I would always play it with that. So to me, it became pretty integral, because I just think it was more fun to play with that. But you're right. It's required. You have to. Now, you did describe that there was a way where you could figure this stuff out almost like a DM, and stuff could happen if the app was like a non-existent thing. But I love the app integration. I think it works so well. So.
Yeah. It's very clean and very straightforward. Anthony, what did you think of your playthrough of Alchemist?
It was okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. I wanted to like it more because I do like deduction logic type of puzzles. I guess I just couldn't wrap my head around the optimal moves of in terms of what where to spend your actions. So I guess for me it was too much to try to do that and like get the engine going on the main board as well. But it's listen, it's a heck of a game. The concept is really cool. The artwork is great. Production's awesome. It's just not something that I'm going to run back to.
Yeah.
I would definitely play it again, like Chris said, like not to end the night. That's for sure.
Yeah. I do find too, if you go in, because I've played with people who love deduction and have had the same like thoughts about Alchemist, because the game itself, like deduction is a part of it, but that's just really it. It's a part of it. Like the whole game itself is honestly, how much can I BS through this entire game? Because you constantly have to push yourself to BS as much as possible and make inferences. Right. Like you need to absolutely take advantage of selling every single turn, because that's huge, because that gives you another test, another potion to test out on, regardless of if you got money or not. Those are potions that you could pawn off and then make theories about, and because the thing is, all the testing happens after publishing theories. It's not until it comes down to the first sale where you can actually start peddling some of these potions beforehand. And I think that's crucial, because having that knowledge in place is just having those theories out is always important. And then also, even if you don't know, you could get it to a point where you can guess on one and you won't be penalized. And I like that aspect a lot, because it's encouraging the players to push as much as possible. I think ABP, always be publishing.
I think it's important to point out too, for me, one of the things that I picked up on, and again, I picked it probably halfway through, is once I realized how vital the order of all that was, that I had not played as probably effectively as I could, it made me rethink some of the things I did, but I really do. I did enjoy it. It was a good game, not a great game for me, but it was a good game that I would play again. But I will say this, I was incredibly impressed by the design itself. Yeah. So even though it was not a game that I'm not running to the table to play, Alchemist was a game that I looked at the design and I said, I was just impressed by the thought process behind every action, because the flow of the way the board goes, the deduction, but to that point, the push your luck part, I'll take a shot at this, and I think I'm close enough with this. So I like the mix of it. It is on the I want to play it again to really suss out kind of where I would rate it on my standard 1 to 10 scale that we tend to do. But we'll make that more early in the morning to say.
Yeah. And I do want to harp on this again, because Board Game Geek has Alchemist listed as a best at 4, and I strongly disagree. I think Alchemist is a perfect 2-player game, and the reason why is because the less players you have, the more action cubes you get. Because we all started out with 3 action cubes in the first round, and then you get 5 for the rest.
Yep.
Which, don't you always wish you had that extra one, because then you could focus on. You could really solve that puzzle of the Sudoku part. So, and I feel like there's a lot of enjoyment on getting that puzzle down correctly. So playing it at 2 players gives you a single cube every turn, and a single, additional cube every turn, compared to the 3-player, or even the 4-player, you start with 2 less, So I think it's just, I think if you're going to play Alchemist and you also are enjoying the deduction portion, 2-player is absolutely the way to go.
Well, Ryan, be careful, because we all know what's happening in 2025 and all that's going to happen now is they're going to end up making Alchemist Duel, probably, at this rate. So because
No way.
I'm
I'm trying to
kidding.
think. CGE only has
know.
done one duel game, right?
That is
They
very,
did Codenames
that's a
Duet.
great point. I mean, obviously, I'm joking, but like that is actually a really good point. I haven't thought about. They haven't really done they haven't jumped on.
I think only Codenames Duet was like their duel game.
Yeah, but Codenames Duet. I mean, and they're redoing. Like that's a redone version of that one coming out. But
they would if they were to do one, they would do Duel the Ages, a dual version of Through the Ages. That I could see.
Oh, that's
a
gimmicky good
name.
title for it.
Duel the Ages.
Duel the Ages. There you go.
CGE. I expect residuals. If you do go through this.
Well, I think I know it is about 10:30, but I think we should rapid fire at least one other pick each, because I know we each have some things on the mind because we've got to play some good stuff. So, Anthony, there's one I'm guessing you're gonna say, and I really want to hear it. So I'm gonna say, why don't we go to you?
All right. Well, speaking of rapid fire, there's rapid fire flicking in this game because the other game that I played off of Ryan's list is none other than Crokinole. Finally flick those discs.
Which I think we're all in agreement is better than Alchemist.
100%.
Oh, yeah. There's not a question.
It is.
Definitely. And it didn't hurt that I whooped up on Chris and then had an epic win over you, Ryan.
You did.
But this is a lot of fun. Oh, look, is that us?
There's too many pictures. The
closest thing we can get to a Tabletop Express Crokinole board.
It's the Planet Express, so it's
Futurama.
that could come to Tabletop Express. Futurama fans will appreciate it.
No, but this was a blast. We used to just flick stuff in school. Like balled up pieces of paper, paper clips, erasers, whatever, you name it. It was like, how far can it go? And then, how much can you keep it together and not get caught? And so all those skills came to play at this table. And this was a really, really fun experience. And I definitely will play this now wherever I see it, for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's very easy to kind of ignore Crokinole until you play Crokinole. That's how I feel about Crokinole, because why would I spend $300 on a wooden circle come on, are you kidding me? And is it a board game? The answer is yes. It's on a board and it's on Board Game Geek. But yeah, it's very easy to dismiss Crokinole because it's just how it looks, and it's an older game. And is it really worth?
Yeah, it is its sort of own category, right? It's an enigma. It's an outlier for sure.
But the answer is yes. It's a board game. Yes, it's worth your time. Yes, it's worth that amount of money, and everyone should play it. Yes. Hands down, everyone. Even if you say, "Oh, I'm not really a dexterity guy," no, I don't care. Play it. Like Crokinole is mind-blowingly changing on any opinion you may have. And if you still feel that way, well, that's just on you at that point.
I like Crokinole a lot. It's a ton of fun. It is a game that I'm not ready to drop the money on that, but at the same time, eventually I want to just get I've described it to both of you. I want the custom Captain America Shield version and put it on the wall. And even if I only play it from time to time, it's going to look damn good on my wall, right? So it's a win-win in my view. But it's a great game. I'm glad Anthony got to play it. It begs me the question that I want to ask of you, Anthony, is how many games that you're aware of at this time off of the top, we did the video that was our top 10 games we wanted to play from the Tabletop Express top 20 board games of all time series. We had 7 people essentially sharing lists. So a lot of options. And you picked 10. How many of those have you now played from the games you wanted to play?
I can't believe you're putting me on the spot. I have no idea.
Well, you did Aquatica. At least 3,
right? At least 3.
Aquatica, yes. Crokinole is 2. What am I missing that I played also?
You have a nice cuppa? I thought you put a nice cup.
Oh
No,
yeah,
no, yeah,
probably.
nice cup.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
put a
yeah,
nice
yeah.
cup on there. So I think that's what I was saying. I think you're ahead of
All
everybody.
right. Thanks.
So there you go. Awesome.
I've done a big fat crokinole board amount.
I have 3 right now.
Yeah.
I'm 3 of the 10. So actually it might be 4. No, it's 3 because it's Aquatica,
Now I'm gonna try to
Numpster,
find my list.
Aquatica, Numpsters, and obviously, you know what we just talked about. We talked about
Alchemist.
Alchemist.
A game
Yeah.
so good you remember the name of it. You
Yeah.
bastard.
Well, look, don't give me a hard time. I played it, all right, and I liked it. I did want to bring something up, and then we'll rock this out with a final one from Ryan.
Sure.
I wanted to bring up one that I played again, and I forget how much we got to talk about it, and we did talk about it, but I'll go quick. I got a chance to play Flatiron again. And I just want to say Flatiron continues to grow on me. I think it is a game that is better with multiple plays. It is a game that continues to get better for me with multiple plays. And I do think that is important, but I have really enjoyed Flatiron.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I just really wanted to point this one out. I mean, it looks great, obviously. But to me, the gameplay pretty straightforward once you actually grasp it. And it's just been fun. I've got to play this with a few people now, and I am becoming a big fan of this game. So wanted to just mention it because I found it interesting. Just it's gotten better every time for me.
By the way, only 2 games. Aquatica was not on my list.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
No, just
What it was.
Crokinole and Nice Cuppa. So I got 2.
Okay. There we go. But yeah, Flatiron, I'll be simple. We've talked a little bit about this, but Flatiron is a game where you are going and building the Flatiron building. It is designed by Isra. I've known as Isra or Isra. I apologize. Isra C. This one is
Same duo as White Castle.
Yeah, same duo as White Castle. You're building the Flatiron building. You are going to be collecting these cards that in a tableau. But what I like is the actions go top to bottom. So as you're building, you have to consider that the order of what they do. Some at the top might get you some money, but allow you to take actions at the bottom. So building that tableau is a ton of fun for me. And then using that to strategically make it so you can score the most points. I won't go full in depth. If anyone wants to talk to me more about this one, happy to dig in, but I love the tableau of this. And then again, that structure, let me just say, part of the fun is the fact that I am building this structure in the process.
Yeah. It's very Barrows game. And I don't mean that in a bad way because you're an
No.
amazing person and I love you, Barrows. But it's 2-player. It is, and it's a tableau builder.
Yes.
You love both of those things. So Flatiron is absolutely a Chris Barrows game.
It is. Yeah, it was a very easy thing for me to enjoy. So yeah,
And
that was
Art
Flatiron.
Deco. Very nice.
So cool.
So cool from Ghostbusters.
What about you, Bill?
I am going to bring up my last game, which is a review copy sent to us by Osprey Games, and I'm finally glad I could say I play with Chris Barrows.
Yes.
Line of Fire: Burnt Moon.
And I believe Marcel got to talk about this a little bit because Marcel had. So this is awesome. I've got to play this.
You talked about it today?
No, not today.
Oh, okay.
Last time, briefly. If
Oh,
I'm
okay,
not
yeah.
mistaken.
It was talked
So
about
what's
before.
awesome is I now feel like I'm really good to talk about this too. So
Okay, there's a review copy sent to us by Osprey Games, designed by David Thompson, Trevor Benjamin. This is what if the mechanics of Undaunted were turned into a combination of Undaunted and like a lane battle, or like Reiner Knizia's Battle Line, or like Air, Land, and Sea, something along those lines, right? This takes this is awesome. I adored my playthrough of Line of Fire: Burnt Moon. I didn't know what to think of it at when it came out, other than hey, it's by David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin, so that's worth our look at. That's worth our look at, and it did a great job of just simplifying those Undaunted mechanics into a lane battler. I had a great time playing this with you, Barros. And based on your feedback, it sounded like both our game and the game with you and Marcel played completely different.
Very
Mm.
different. Very
'Cause
different.
we were kind of tug of warring the victory point conditions, whereas you guys are kind of just slugfesting each other out.
Yes, and that impressed me, and that's one of the things I wanted to mention when I played this with Marcel, because Marcel had come down for my birthday, and actually had a chance to get quite a few games in, and it was a highlight because we played this game and it was a battle of just boom, 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 and we still had that happening because there was moments where people were in danger of not having enough of their particular unit available, right? And because if one of your you have a few ways you can lose this game. You've got there's one type of unit that if it's eliminated, you lose the game. There is scoring enough points. Your opponent scores this 7 essentially as a area control of 7+, you're gonna lose. So there's a few ways to lose. So you've got to be mindful of it with every action you take. And having two very different games was exciting to me. The other thing that I thought was great and that I really liked about this game was it even though it's built on the Undaunted system, it doesn't replicate it exactly. It still makes tweaks and changes. You've got the ability to put A units and B units down, but they have to be in separate rows from each other. Additionally, you're really only going to have one of those units down, so it's not like you're playing them into different areas. You can't have two down. So there's these little things that it does that I think are really just excellent. And as far as I'm concerned, and you mentioned Airland and Sea, right?
Yeah.
I love Radlands.
Yeah.
I think Radlands is a fun game. And I think Radlands is still a different game. For anyone watching this, I don't want to say, well, Radlands is different. You've got 3 bases you're destroying. And I know. It's Lane Battler, but Radlands was my Lane Battler that I loved. That was my number 1 Lane Battler. This has surpassed it
For sure. Yeah,
and I loved Radlands.
I could definitely see. And going back to what you're saying too, where you have a card as a unit. I mean, that trade-off is great because you need to basically ditch one of your cards and still have that card in your deck, so you could activate the card that is in your tableau, which I think is brilliant. Because then you're just completely stuck at that point. Like, do I actually go with this, or do I, or do I not? You know, and it's so well done. Like, if you had to pick the two, obviously, if I would go with Line of Fire, and I think comparing it to Airland and Sea, which I love Airland and Sea. I think it surpassed Airland and Sea even. And I absolutely adore Airland and Sea. So
and Airland and Sea, Radlands was ahead of for me slightly. So
what I'm saying is 2025 has been been a lot of killers.
Yeah, and I do want to thank Osprey for sending this to us. Obviously, we were excited about this. There's no question. The team that made and designed this game are my favorite designers. We had a favorite designers video. They were my number 1, that combination. But I go into every game from them thinking eventually I'm going to find a clunker. Like, it's just bound to happen. And it just hasn't occurred yet for me.
Yeah.
So, and I always go in thinking this one could be it because I'm not sure on this or that thing that's happening.
They've really made games that I feel like are not as good as some of their other games.
Right.
They're still great games on their own.
And I want to point out this is in the Callisto 2200 universe,
which this is better than that for sure.
But this is better than Undaunted Callisto 2200, and I would rather play this than that. So So I mean, I guess I'm due for a David Thompson, Trevor Benjamin top game list because at this point I have enough that I could rank them. So
would you include games that either did without the other? Like David Thompson game that didn't have David Thompson.
It depends what we set the protocols on. I would consider that, sure.
Okay.
You make the rules, man. Do whatever you want.
But if we're talking about the combo of them as the list, that's what I'm saying. That would be a different list altogether. So.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this one. I love this one. I hope people, really jump to get a game of this.
If you like their other games, you're going
Yeah.
to like this game.
Yes, I think. And when this says 20 to 30 minutes, it's accurate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the thing. I
Now,
would say.
comparatively to the other games, I know you and I are going to disagree on this. Much better than War Chest, in my opinion. Even after the first play, I enjoy this personally over War Chest.
I personally like this slightly better than War Chest, to be honest, and I love War Chest.
Whoa!
Slightly better.
Oh my
But
gosh!
I had
I wasn't
2 plays
expecting that
of it.
answer.
It's 2 plays in, 2 or 3 plays in.
Okay.
So War Chest has me on replayability. So
Yeah.
from an initial play, and that's why I say, do I like it from an initial base play? So in terms of as I rank, War Chest is in my top 20. I'm not saying this is usurping it.
Yeah.
War Chest has an incredible amount of variety. This would need to do something to surpass it overall. But from an initial, if I'm comparing my first initial reactions to War
Yeah.
Chest and to this, higher first reaction to this one.
Yeah.
Better
Okay.
game in terms of
play some
overall
more.
and longevity. I'm not gonna just jump there yet.
I'm
I need
liking it
one
a lot more than the original Undaunted.
more. Okay.
I still think Battle of Britain might be better.
Oh yeah.
Battle of Britain's really good.
Battle Britain's so good. Anthony, you
And
gotta post
Stalingrad's
something
still my number one. Yeah.
Stalingrad is number 1, but there's no question. But yeah, that is Line of Fire Burnt Moon again. Thank you again to Osprey Games for sending us a copy of this that has allowed us to play it. Again, we've talked about it a few times now. If you want to talk to me more about it, come say hi on the Discord. I'm happy to share you more of my thoughts and or in the comments, whatever. But I definitely enjoyed it. So
Anthony, have you played this game yet?
Nope.
Have you played any game by the two? All right. This is the year for it.
New
I'm
challenge.
intrigued because I wonder,
What
could
if?
this game, if you played it first and then you played Undaunted, ease you into Undaunted?
I don't know.
Because the key
Because you played War Chest first, Barrows. You're over here. You played War Chest first. I played Undaunted first. Anthony could be that weird middle ground.
Yeah.
You can experiment on me.
All right. Guys, before we wrap, really quick, I want to point out we got a few cool things coming up. Next week, Creators Corner, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We got Sky Larson coming on, talking about all these good things, but that includes look, we got a
Paperback Adventures 2.
new Kickstarter, Paperback Adventures Volume 2.
Hardback Adventures.
No, it's they got a co-op piece in this one. They got some other things coming. Pretty cool. There's a big box. So we'll talk a little bit more with him about that. Then in the week that follows, we have a top 5 list. We're going to talk about our top 5 betting games.
Yes. Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, the one you might
Place
hear,
your bets.
place your bets on if you're going to hear about it. And then in the week that follows after that, which will be June 16th, if I'm not mistaken, at 9 p.m.
July.
Alex Kessler of
July 16th.
Esco, is going to be coming on talking with us as well. And that's going to be another Creators Corner. And then end of July is going to be here before we know it, apparently, based on the schedule I just gave, which means we're going to be jumping into another call aboard at that point. So action-packed schedule ahead. Set your seatbelts, get ready because we're moving fast.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I am
Thanks
too.
for everyone who called in tonight. That was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was always good. It's awesome, and I especially appreciate the participation. Love hearing all the games, especially and to Arwin, thank you for giving us the Origins report. Which is always great to hear about it because we it's hard to get to all these cons. We promise you'll hear about us at PAX Unplugged. That one we can promise. We're already booked for the hotel at least.
All right.
There's no tickets available. Not yet. But with that, thank you everybody. This has been the Tabletop Express. We've had a good time. Do that thing where you write a comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But more than anything, if you got a chance, join our community and come join us and be a part of that over on Discord. We would love to have you. We'd love to talk to you. and just have a great time. With that, thank you, everybody. We will see you next week for Creators Corner. See you then.